Well, hi everyone. I'm out here in the Heavenly Backyard Garden, and this is Heavenly Backyard Astronomy and Heavenly Backyard Gardening. And today I'm going to talk a little bit about my telescope, as a matter of fact, I'll talk about it right now, the CGM mount. I decided to take it in for repair. The USB port has been broken. The system's been out here for over 4 years now. So it's time to have a tune-up and to have it fixed. So I shipped it off to California, and hopefully it'll be back within a couple of weeks, and I'll get the big C11 back up on that system. In the meantime, I still have the Orion Eon 130 millimeter refractor triplet telescope, and that's sitting on top of the Skywatcher EQ6R Pro mount, and I'm still doing a lot of astrophotography with that, but not on today or tonight because we got the clouds up in the sky. But it's a good day for gardening. And you know, a couple of weeks ago I started planting my potatoes here in Savannah. You know, it was middle February then. Now's the last day of February, and the potatoes are already starting to come up. I'm also planting beans. I've already planted those, and they're already beginning to come up. Broccoli and cauliflower, got those going. I'm going to start working on the tomatoes, and I'm going to also plant some cucumbers. All today. Yeah, it's late February, but there's a reason behind that, and I'm going to show you why I'm planting early this year. So let's look back, though, a couple weeks ago when I started planting those potatoes. Well, it's that time to start working the potato patch, and I'm out here in the middle of February. Now, further north in the northern climates, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer, but when you can start working the soil, that's when you want to start thinking about planting potatoes, if you're going to plant potatoes at all. I love potatoes, and the potatoes I'm planting are the Pontiac Reds. And what I did earlier is I took several Pontiac Reds and I cut them up so that they would have at least 2 eyes per cut. And I do this in several days in advance for the skin to harden where I made the cuts. That makes it less prone to rot when you put them in the ground. But anyway, all I do is prepare the soil, and the way I prepared the soil was I used triple super phosphate to add for the growth of the root or the tuber. Vegetables that grow underground, like potatoes or turnips or rutabagas or anything like, that grows underground, radishes, they like that phosphate. That gives the root extra energy to grow into larger tubers. And of course, that's what you want with the potatoes. And I also added some composted chicken manure for the above ground growth to aid with the plants. You know, after all, you know, the leaves of a plant are like miniature solar panels. You know, they're absorbing the energy from the sun, and that has been put into the plant itself, and eventually the result is the vegetable or the fruit, and in this case, the potato. So what I do is I just simply dig the troughs, and from there, I just plant the potatoes in the trough. And it's very easy to do once you have the soil prepared. And I say soil, some people say dirt. Well, to me, dirt is what you sweep under the rug. Soil is what you plant your vegetables in. All right, so here I got the soil all prepared and just about ready to put in the potatoes themselves. And so let's do it. Very easy. You just take the cut potatoes and just drop them in. Now, some people say drop them in with the eyes pointing up. Some people say point them with the eyes, or plant them with the eyes pointed down. And others say it really doesn't matter. Well, I'm in that company where it doesn't matter. I've been planting potatoes for 10 to 15 years back here, and it doesn't matter. So, from that, I just simply lightly cover them up. And they'll pop out of the ground in about 2 weeks. And here it is in the middle of February for me, and these will be ready by the middle of May. I'll be digging in the middle to the end of May, these potatoes. And usually, the way it works out for me is that for every pound of potatoes I plant, I usually harvest 7 to 8 pounds. One year I had about a 10-pound ratio. So a little bit goes a long way. So there you have it. That's how I plant the potatoes here in the Heavenly Backyard Garden. Also, one of the things I'm going to do today, I'm going to gamble and plant some green beans. I just received these in the mail today from Park Seed, the bean called Endeavor. And this is a wonderful green bean. Now, it, again, like the potatoes, but not as much as the potatoes, it likes cool weather, not the hot weather. So it looks like I'm going to have some good weather here for the next several weeks. And I'm going to show you why in a minute, but let me plant these seeds right now. I got a bean trough I built here. This is 2 feet wide by 8 feet long. And I'm going to plant just a couple of rows today. These will be my gamble beans. And then a week later, I'm going to plant 2 more rows. And then a week later, 2 more rows, and so on until I've filled up the trough here. That way, all the beans won't be ready at once. I'll be harvesting them in succession. So I'll have some green beans for dinner one night, then I'll wait a couple of days or a couple of 3 or 4 days, have green beans again for dinner again that night. So that's what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to plant the green beans. And again, nothing magic about this once you prepare the soil. And I have some 10-10-10 in here, and I also have some chicken manure, composted chicken manure. Here's the seeds right here. And I'm just going to plant them in the ground and in the rows right here. And there we go. Just putting them in the ground. And I'm going to cover them up lightly. Now, the thing about this little container here is in the event I do get a freeze, I can cover this up. So I'm not too worried about losing the beans. Getting a hard freeze here in Savannah after Valentine's Day is very, very rare event. Again, if it does, I can cover these up. So I'm good to go with my beans here. So, and you know, any good gardener is going to gamble anyway. So well, I guess I'm a good gardener because I'm gambling. Now this is where I'm going to be planting the tomatoes this year in these troughs, boxes, whatever you want to call them. They're 3 feet by 3 feet, almost a meter by meter in cubic dimensions here. It's a lot of soil that you have to put in here. And well, here's an example. Look at, this is 2 cubic feet right here. And that weighs about, gosh, it feels like about 60 pounds right there. It's a little bit on the wet side, but that's just one bag, and I got to put in probably at least 5 more bags to fill up the box. Anyway, now Better Bush is the tomato I'm going to be planting. It's about the size of tennis balls or baseballs, and they harvest usually probably around here in the middle of June. Now, I started some of these in the winter months, actually from plants in the summer month. And what I did is I just took a cutting off of a scraggly plant, and you take a nice area where you do have some green growth, and you cut it and trim off the lower leaves, and then dip them in some root tone, a rooting medium. That really, really helps a lot. And then put the cutting in some potting soil, usually some good indoor potting soil or starting seed potting soil, and in a couple of weeks it'll be like this. And I did this a couple of weeks ago, and let's pull this out and let's see what happens here, if I can get it out. Yeah, see, I already got a pretty good root supply going, root growth going on this tomato here. So this one is actually ready to plant. Now you're saying, Pat, it's too cold to plant tomatoes. Well, it is in many portions of the country, but here in the southeast, Savannah in particular, this is the last day of February. And usually I try to get my tomato plants in the ground around St. Patrick's Day, because they don't like it when it gets really, really hot out here. And plus the bugs actually do love the tomato plants by then. So the key is to get them going and get them growing early and get them growing fast. So that's what I'm doing. Now, in the event that I get a freeze, I can cover them up with this situation here. I'm not going to be planting a whole lot. I'm not planting acres and acres. I'm just planting 4 plants, 1 in each corner in this cube here, and the other cube I'll have another 4 plants. That's 8 tomato plants. That's going to be a lot of tomatoes, actually. One plant can produce 20 or 30 tomatoes, so that's, yeah, that's good. So let's put these in the ground right now. And I'm going to put this one in this first corner right here. And it doesn't take much. Just put them in, and you can put them down in deep. And just cover them up, and then point them to the sun, and they'll take off. Now, I also took some seeds from the tomatoes that I had grown. And again, these are better bush. And one of the things you need to know about tomatoes is your local geography and the history of your area, because certain tomatoes won't grow in certain areas of the country. And here in the southeast, we are cursed with this bacteria growth in the ground that will affect tomatoes. So you want tomatoes that are disease resistant to the Pacific area of your location. So that's what these are. These are disease resistant. So it doesn't mean disease proof, disease resistant, and they should grow very well. So I have, gosh, about 20 plants right here. So I got more than enough. I'll be planting probably some of these a little bit later on in the spring in different locations throughout the garden. But this is already allocated for 4 plants here and 4 plants there. Well, besides the tomatoes, I started some cucumbers. I love cucumbers. And I'm going to put these in the ground today as well. Again, in the event of frost, I can cover these up. It's a very rare event that we get a hard freeze after March 1st here in Savannah. It might get down to about 28 degrees or so, but I can cover these up and they'll be protected. But again, an early jump on these vegetables has a big payoff. If you gamble correctly, the dividends will be high. Well, I got more gardening to do, and I'll have more videos coming up with the garden as well. This is Heavenly Backyard Astronomy and Heavenly Backyard Gardening, and sometimes Heavenly Backyard Weather. But right now, let's take a quick peek at that weather forecast, because this is why I am planning now in late February. All right, let's go to my webpage, savannahpat.name. That's my weather and nature page. And from there, just click on computer models and then go into the computer models right here. The Tropical Tidbits, which is a very good website for weather. Click on the Climate CFS Weekly, and from there scroll down, go into thermodynamics, and there you see for this week, temperatures are going to be much above normal in the middle portion of the country here in the southeast. Matter of fact, most of the country except for the extreme northeast, and they're just slightly below normal temperature. So a big warm up across the country itself. And then week number 2, look at the eastern third of the country, eastern quarter of the country is under much above normal temperatures. That doesn't mean it's going to be hot. That's just above normal, whatever normal is for your area. For here in Savannah, on this period here, normal high is about 70 degrees. And there you can see up in the northwest and the north central portion of the country, they're going to be much below normal temperatures there. And you're probably going to get some storms in between these two here. But anyway, let's go into my forecast on my page and go into the 6-week outlook for my area. And this is why I'm not concerned about losing my plants to frost and freezing temperatures. There you can see that temperatures above normal for this week. Next week, very much above normal. Normal high is 70, normal low is 47 for our area here. And then week 3, March 15th through the 21st, including the St. Patrick's Day celebration here in Savannah, 71 is normal high, and we're going to be well above that. Probably in the middle 80s. Temperatures above normal on week 4 or 5, and then slightly above normal for week 6. But by that, we're in the middle, we're into the month of April, and normal high is already up to 75 degrees. Normal low is 52. So very, very small chance of any for frost in our area then. So the gardening should go very well with this forecast if it holds true. And this thing has been working out fairly well over the last couple of years. Remember, in astronomy, the heavens are filled with majestic wonders, all in a sky near you. And the gardens, that's another form of nature that has all the beauties that surround us in beautiful gardens. And hopefully, you'll enjoy these garden views. Thanks for watching.